Alright, I welcome you back to once another video. That was a very interesting singing voice. Anyway, you can see today we are going to Adrestia, and I know this might be a bit late since she's already been out for some time, but yeah, I didn't do it earlier, so I'm doing it now. You can already see I have my skills equipped here, so we're gonna go through these skills again, and I'm gonna talk about them a little and if I would use them or not, and you know the deal by now probably. First of all, we're gonna have our little rapid swirl thing here. This has quite a good range. I mean, again, it's an active skill, so it's nothing like you usually use for PvE, but for PvP I would say that it's pretty decent. One, because for the wound duration, and two, knockdown rate decrease, which both is pretty nice for PvP. And yeah, as I said, it's also got a nice range, which makes it very usable for PvP. Second one, Restrict. A really good skill, I must say. A skill I really like on her, and a skill I actually use for DPSing, because this thing deals a ton of damage. Now, Lu might not be the best target to test this on, because he's not that big, but especially against big enemies, this can deal a lot of damage. I guess it deals more when he's in the air, so you must look a little for your placement, because if you're only hitting enemies on the edge, then you will deal, as you can see, less damage than anything else. Yeah, that's about Restrict. Maybe I can, like... So this is with Lu in front of me. This was too far away. This is with Lu on the edge. Wait a second. I have equipment on. That's not good for the testing. Now, once again, Lu pretty much in the middle, getting pushed away here. Sound effects on. So, Lu in front of me, getting hit by the whole thing. Then Lu in front of me in the air. And Lu on the edge of the skill. So yeah, you can see that skill damage can very well vary based on your positioning. Well, yeah, enough testing with that skill. Let's go to Chasing Prey. There we go, it's a nice teleport. It actually has quite a lot of range. You can see this, that for 100 MP, 80 MP actually, I think this is a... Wrong key. This is a really nice skill for if you want to catch up to some enemies in PvE, or if you're gonna use it for PvP, that's pretty nice as well, since, as I said, it's had quite a lot of range. Now, Breeze. Oh god, Lewis, stay here. Anyway, you can see this is a chaser skill, so to say. And it just summons these swords that track down the enemy and then deal continuous damage to them. I have experienced it. I have a feeling like that these swords usually hit an enemy and then move on to the next. Or at least they don't stay on one enemy for the entire duration. It's just the feeling I've got while using it. Yeah, other than that, it's a pretty nice skill. It is... My opinion varies a little. If you're like strong enough for a dungeon, if you're like way over the power level, this is just your clear skill. You're just gonna activate that skill and it runs through all the enemies and just brings them down as quickly as possible. While I felt like when it comes to harder dungeons, stronger enemies, that this skill, it feels like it falls behind for me. Now, on our F slot we have Severe Blow. This also has some nice range. Also going up, of course. Yeah, this could actually see. Think. Yeah, this looks like a this looks like 2 platforms up, to be honest. Maybe even 3. We can test that real quick. Come here, Lou. I need you. I need to hit you. Alright, let's see if it's a 3 platform. No, it's only 2 platforms. Good enough though. 2 platforms is already quite a lot of range. Again, it's an active skill, so it's not gonna be a damage skill for PvE, but for PvP, I guess this can be a nice choice to have. So of course you gotta combine it with something if you hit the enemy and then awakening and go up or something like that. Next one, Q. A very important skill for her. Outburst. That's its name. And as you can see, this says... Okay, thank you for spawning behind me. This is some range, vertically and horizontally, and this is one of your main skills, key skills that you want to use. This can also deal damage to bosses, however, on smaller bosses, I feel like you're usually good to go with the other skills that she has, but against big bosses this can deal some damage since each of these five swords, I believe they are, has its own hitbox. Or, yeah, hitbox, so big enemies are gonna take more damage from this. By the way, I'm gonna talk this Divinus Manus after I showed you all the skills. So with that we've got... That's probably a first path skill as well, maybe. But let's go to second path. And Transcendence. The next skills. There we go. At first we have a little sword in the hole. That sounds kind of wrong. Elimination. A sword that just... So, okay, it's not really moving forward. It just has this kind of point that it moves into. All right, I'm just gonna stop. It's a good skill for bossing. For field clearing, it's more like, I mean, it doesn't really have the range. It's not based on where the enemy is standing and where the sword will disappear. So it's at this fixed point in front of you. So it's not really a skill you can cover a lot of ground with, but for bosses this deals some nice damage, even against smaller ones. Now we have Shift. Shift is a quick dash forward, actually a really quick dash. Wouldn't be surprised if this has the same speed as Lord Nye's new 100 MP skill, Tackle. I wouldn't be surprised if this has the same speed as Tackle, just with a bit less range since it's an active skill. Once again, you can cover some ground with this in PvP. For PvE, I feel like you can use it to dodge, since you're moving through enemies. So if you go like this, you just... now imagine this was, for example, maybe Birth, and he's about to do his ice blast in the birth rate, and then you just go like whoosh, and are on the other side. So I believe that's what you can use it for. Other than that, I don't see that much potential for PvE, maybe. In our D slot we have Vanishing Point. Sounds like she's saying Perishing Point. So, as you can see, we throw this thing forward, this little shockwave, and if it hits an enemy, then 3 additional swords will spawn and attack the enemy. Kind of like Infinity Sword, just with a bit more utility, I would say. I believe there are better options for PvE. In PvP, I'm not too sure about it, because this has... wow. This has quite a lot of time between the hit and the sword summon, so I'm not exactly sure how to say this for PvP. I guess you could use something else, maybe. Next skill, Thunderhead. throws a big axe down on the ground. Actually flies the whole duration down. So if you have, for example, a boss like Hanon in area node tower defense, you just go to the top platform and yeet that thing down the entire platform section, and this then deals a lot of damage. The skill alone already deals a lot of damage. You can use it like, I feel like you can use it in two ways. One like this. I mean. This is like for enemies above you, I would say. If you can't really reach them, then you can use it for this. But its main purpose, of course, is throw it on your enemies. Yeah, this deals a lot of damage, so definitely take it with you. As I have experienced this to be able to nearly one-shot Hanon with secret dungeon equipment. That's actually kind of funny. Our next one is a very beautiful skill. Oh god, I'm gonna fail that. Magnolia? Okay, don't judge me. Alright. Throws forward this thing that spawns this flower, and I really must say, visually speaking, I'm a big fan of this skill because the flowers really look beautiful. Like, look at this. This looks so pretty. Nah. The skill had no right to be so pretty, but it still was. Anyway, Magnolia is a good skill for clearing, especially since these individual flowers can stack damage. And the more enemies you hit, the more flowers you get, and then each flower hits each enemy, hopefully, and then it deals more damage. Against bossing, I feel like you can use it use it while other better skills are on cooldown. It's like, it's not really bad, but it's also not something that you should focus your damage on if you're bossing, because this is better against a lot of enemies, because as you can see, it hits harder when there are more enemies. How much can I stack that? Oh Jesus. Alright. Next skill. Our protection barrier, unbroken belief. Gonna go back to one enemy. I'm gonna go back to Lure. Spawns this area that does receive damage decrease 20%. Lasts for 10 seconds, and if you fall below. Wait. If you fall below 20% HP, then this thing will recover 100 MP for you in PvE and 10% in PvP, I believe. Yes, 10% in PvP. So this is your... Do not be mistaken, this is not a revive skill. If you are on, like, let's say 21% HP and you get a one shot, then you are not going to revive with 100% HP. So this only works if you survive a hit that brings you below 20% HP. If you get killed by that hit, then this skill will not help you. But if you fall below 20 HP and survive it, then this skill will heal you up to 100%, which is pretty useful, I must say. Though, of course, in later dungeons you often just get one shot at this time, so... But overall, a really decent skill. By the way, for PvPs, every hit here deals individual hit stun, as you can see with Lure. Now, our next skill is this thing. It basically drops Elysis to the ground and deals damage. The area of effect is pretty good, I must say. Like for 100 MP, this is pretty decent. Or, like, it's not decent, it's, I would actually say, above average. Not really dungeon skill, of course, because it's like only 100 MP, so you're gonna have better options for damaging. For PvP, I'm not exactly sure what to say about the skill. I believe you can use it. It definitely has its values. Though don't think that the freeze effect 2 seconds is gonna do too much to your enemy. Now, Red Prison 80 MP. This has a lot of range, as you can see. For 100 MP, that's pretty good. Yeah, basically throws 2 shockwaves forward, and that's pretty much the skill. Again, 100 MP, so not really a skill that I think is 100% taken with you in PvE. I think again there are better ones you could take for ranging, for example our flower skill here, or the multi-sword attack here, Outburst. Then, Elsword. 100 MP, but unfortunately, even though it looks like Armageddon Blade, and has a lot of skill for a blade that is created at 100 MP, unfortunately it only increases combat active damage increase, which is not really something you need in dungeons. Maybe in birth rate you could use it if you are in these locked phases where you can't use strength or bravery skills, then you can use this tenacity skill to increase your active skill damage. Other than that, I don't see too much value for it in dungeons. For PvP, maybe you can make use of this increased attack range effect. Oh, I've never done that before, but it's actually fun to throw enemies around like this. I gotta speed up, because I'm taking too much time already. Spearhead. Gotta slow down to the ground. Yeah, it's a pretty quick active skill, it stuns the enemy, so I would say once again a PvP skill, not too much usage for PvE, I believe. Then, for our last skills, Upside Down and Kepharesis, I hope. Probably not spelling it right. And then the Hyperactive. So first of all, Upside Down. Oops, accidentally activated the camera gun. Upside Down spawns some swords above you, some swords below you, and then just brings them together with an explosion. Personally, for me, I must say the visuals are kind of underwhelming for me. After I read the skill description, I was like, oh, that's gotta be the coolest skill in a kit, but other than that, the damage of course depends on where you are, or where you hit your enemy. This is gonna deal way less damage than if you go like this. But it's a skill I would take in PvE, because it deals good damage in that. Next, Kepharesis. Yeah, I can read it. 300 MP. Does some damage. Also some good AoE. Ah, Kepharesis. Okay. What can I say about the skill? I'm kind of conflicted in my opinions here. So it's a skill you should use. It definitely deals its damage. I personally am like, it's okay as a skill, but it's a skill you should carry for your dungeons. And now, hyperactive, one which I'm actually quite happy to talk about. Okay, that was Awakening, but this hyperactive is an interesting one. It looks pretty good, but the damage is the thing I'm most interested in, because whenever I start this hyperactive, I'm like, ah yeah, this is just a cooldown filler, and then suddenly it deals a lot of damage. So I believe this, if you have, for example, trouble having your cooldowns, if you have troubles with your cooldowns, then this is actually a pretty nice option to throw in between, because it deals a lot of damage. Now, I quickly want to show you which skills I am using in PvE. For that, I quickly gotta put all my skills back in from my screenshots. So here we have, of course, that little sword, and then this one because it deals a lot of damage, then this one because it's good for multiple mobs, this one because it deals a lot of damage. I've already got this one because it deals a lot of damage. And actually our Chasing Praesker. Did I say you shouldn't use it in dungeons? Well, now I'm using it myself anyway. Yeah, because I like to teleport to the enemies. Now, for my Elsword, I'm using 2 skills. If I'm in dungeons where I know I can deal lots of damage to the enemies because I'm just overpowered for them, I'm using Breeze. If I'm in dungeons where I'm pretty much on the power level, then I'm using Wild Shock. It's just by my personal thing. As I said, I feel like this skill falls behind if you are fighting stronger mobs. Now, as you can see, this is my skill loadout that I usually use. Some people would now probably get angry because you put K3. God, this skill you put it on in the Transcendent slot or elimination, maybe something like this. Yeah. Now that we've got that, I'm gonna talk about Diviner's Manus really quick, because you can see some skills here, the 200 and 300 MP ones, have some special effects, which are listed below the damage as Diviner's Manus. What is this? Basically, if you are an Awakening and your skill has this Diviner's Manus thing, then this will increase the performance of the skill. This will be added to the skill. Oh, it actually stands... Oh, was it always there? It actually stands below the skill description. So, Restrict ignores enemy defense for 40%. Then Breeze, its damage is increased by 15% if you use it during Gale mode, during Awakening, which helps really much in my opinion, which really helps the skill to keep up with some other good options. This one, quickly drinking something. If you hit enemies with Outburst, then your enemies are going to receive more damage, more magical damage, 10% for 15 seconds. Here you can see that for 10 seconds, if you hit an enemy with elimination, their magical defense will decrease. The next skill that has Diviner's Manus is Thunderhead. If you use it in Awakening mode, in Gale mode, then Diviner's Manus will deal more hits. Here you can see hit count increase 1.15 times. I don't know exactly how much more hits that is in an average hit level, but it deals more hits, which is really powerful since this skill already deals a lot of damage. Then we have our Magnolia, the really beautiful flower skill. If you use it during Annihilation mode, during Awakening, then Diviner's Manus range increases by 1.2 times, which also is really helpful. Maybe I can show this real quick because... So this is a normal range. And in comparison, the Awakening range, you can just see this is way bigger than the normal flower. So it really helps getting more damage out, since the flower can hit more enemies, which helps in AoE damage. You have nothing? You have one. Alright. When using Gale mode skill during Awakening, grants Guardstone buff to allies within range. So this, I believe... this is the... Alright. Okay, then I must really quickly re-say what I said. I'm really sorry, I'm kinda in a haste, so I didn't put my words in war, and I didn't have so much time to deal with the Salaces. So basically, the thing I said before with the you get 100%, 10% HP when you fall below 20, this happens if you use this skill during Awakening in Gale mode. Now, next one is Upside Down. When using an Annihilation mode skill during Awakening, party members within range will have one debuff removed and the rest of debuff will have a decreased duration by 20%, which helps your party in dealing with debuffs of any kind, which definitely increases your capabilities as a supporter, in my opinion, since in the later dungeons debuffs and such can be a real annoyance, but being able to remove one and lessen the duration of the other ones is definitely a huge plus. Then, because there's this, I believe this is also one why this is a really important skill, because if you use it during Annihilation mode, during Awakening, enemy set will release by the release strike will receive increased damage from critical attacks, and this is 10% for 10 seconds, which also helps increasing her damage. So you can see if you use your strong skills, you will increase your own damage output and help your party out, which is why this character is like, I would say her main thing is DPSing or sub DPSing. I don't think she's a real main DPS, but I feel like she's a good sub DPS with some buffing capabilities. So yeah, so far that's my opinion on her. When it comes to her combos, I don't really have much of an opinion. I think I just never really noticed them. But I must say, most of her combos have a lot of range and a slide, which is fun to have on every character. Like, have I said this before? No, but I don't think so. But I really like add slides, so having more slides is always a win. Even though I'm failing them right now. There we go. Yeah, I'm sorry that I took so long. As I said, I kind of have my stress right now with some tests coming up, so I didn't put my words before this video. Anyway, that's my opinion about each of these skills for Adrestia. I hope you noticed my little wordplay with Adrestiate in the okay, I'm sorry. I'm ending the video already, so I hope you enjoyed, even if this is a half an hour long video now. Anyway, as I said, I hope you enjoyed. Now, hope you have a great week, whenever we will see each other again. Yeah, well then, have a good day. Bye bye.